So happy Tuesday, everyone. I didn't record anything on Monday because I didn't do anything on Monday. My sisters spent the night at the house, and while I did work a little bit on my thesis, I just, wanted to spend some time with them. As I mentioned in my last vlog, I actually got feedback back from this new draft that I had, my big boy draft. This is my big boy draft. I got feedback on it now, and basically I am going to take all of November working on this specific feedback. I was supposed to be working on PhD applications. Anyways, I was supposed to be working on one specific PhD application that's due December 1st, but I actually decided to not apply for that school anymore and just reapply at the school that I am now for their PhD program. Honestly, the main reason why I decided to do that is because I want to specialize in 19th century American literature, specifically on Nathaniel Hawthorne's work. And I already have a great relationship with the main professor here at GSU that teaches American literature, 19th century American literature. We've been working together since my undergrad, and he is very familiar with my work. Because of my ADHD and anxiety, it really is the best move to just stay not necessarily in my comfort zone, but in my routine and with familiar people. Just because if I were to apply to a different school and decide to go there, I feel like starting over would just make grad school even harder than it probably should be. I'm not saying that it's easy peasy, but I feel like going into a new environment and having to form new relationships and find a new thesis director and so on and so forth, I feel like that is just adding more stress onto me that I don't necessarily have to do if I'm already really comfortable in this program. Since I technically haven't even heard back from him about my writing sample, that kind of solidifies the fact that I don't want to apply to any other program. And this specific program, or this school's deadline, isn't until February. So November is just full of thesis work still. Long story short, thesis work. I had originally been assigned 3 tasks that's due by December because of the fact that I was working on applications, but I'm going to contact my thesis director and let her know that I'm not going to do that anymore, and that these 3 tasks I want to turn in halfway through the month, and then I'll add on more work for our original meeting in December. I hope that makes sense. With that being said, I don't know if you could tell, but I am feeling very under the weather, and I'm not having a good time right now because I did hurt my sciatic nerve and my back is killing me as well. So today I'm gonna call it a self-care day. Today I am having a self-care day where I was editing all morning, so I did do some important work, but as opposed to thesis work, I'm not gonna touch that today. Yeah, my plan today is to either art or play Lies of P, because I actually have not touched that game again in a long time, and I want to see if I could finally get past the first freaking boss and read. I was reading Wuthering Heights last night. So I go in and out with annotating my books. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. It just really depends on if I feel like it's worth underlining anything or tabbing anything. And just with, I'm almost halfway through, right? But just with these 3 tabs alone, my heart, it just goes to show this is gonna stay in my favorites shelf. Basically, this is it. It's just with these 3 tabs, I already know that this is gonna go back on my favorite shelf. I'm just so in love right now. I finally remember why I personally hate the miscommunication trope. I freaking hate the miscommunication trope in books, and this is why. I've already gotten to the point, I mean, I guess spoilers if you haven't read Wuthering Heights, but I've already gotten to the point where it's a 3-year time skip and Heathcliff has disappeared and Catherine married the other guy. And I'm just like, Heathcliff, whatever. I'm enjoying myself. I'm really sad, but it's going. But it's going. Happy Tuesday, basically.
That is the free space, but that still counts.
I have been dealing with the big sad this week. Today is Wednesday and I just don't have the energy to do anything right now. And that makes me a little mad because I just don't want to be behind on all my work. And I didn't want to be behind in my reading progress that I've been making with the Bloomin read-a-thon. But one thing that I've learned in therapy is to give yourself a break before your body forces you to have one. So that is basically what I'm doing here. As you guys probably saw, depending on how I edit this video, I am deciding to take today as a self-care day. A semi-self-care day just because I don't want to wash my hair today. I've been needing to do my eyebrows for a while, so instead of going to get them professionally done, decided to do them myself. Was that a mistake? Probably. Luckily, they grow back. So what can I do until then, right? What can I do? So today is Saturday, which is the beginning of my reading challenge that I'm going to try to do. Here's the reading list, and in no particular order. I don't really know which book I'm going to start with, but we have The Castle of Otranto by Horace Walpole. Sorry, again, I'm sorry that it's inverted, but yes, The Castle of Otranto. We have Georges Bataille's Literature and Evil, and this is a collection of essays, so this one should go pretty fast as well. This one is still a maybe, so it's not gonna be the first ones, but this is Henry James' The Turn of the Screw. And then we have Ernest Hemingway, The Old Man in the Sea. And another nonfiction is Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own. And my only graphic novel that I have left to read is Garlic and the Witch. I'm really excited about this one specifically. And then the last book is Jane Rhys Why Sargasso Sea. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I have been dealing with a small depressive episode. Your girl has the big sad right now. And I have also been reading Wuthering Heights, and that book is so sad. So I'm almost done with it, but I needed a break, and I realized why not just go through my TBR list over the weekend, since I'm not even going to be working on my thesis anyways. And so most of these books, actually all of these books, hit one or more spaces on the Bloomin read-a-thon bingo card board. So I should be able to fill up, if not all the spaces, then most of them that I'll only have like one or two left, which is amazing. And I've snuck in nonfiction in here to get me ready for my bigger nonfiction book that I want to read later this month, specifically for like the week of Thanksgiving. This goal is to specifically hit the happy square multiple times, or at least keep me in the happy energy realm. Speaking of being happy, I think that means I am going to start with Garlic and the Witch. I've been wanting to read this. I was supposed to read this in October, so I need me some quality time with Miss Garlic over here. So I am done with Garlic and the Witch. It is the cutest thing I've ever read. It definitely made me happy, like it was supposed to. It was so cute. This one definitely fills up my happy space, and incidentally, no spoilers, but incidentally it also fills up my LGBTQ space. So that was cool because I was worried that I wasn't actually going to be able to fill that space. No, I guess I do have like 2 or 3 other books that could have filled that space, but I'm glad that I got it down already, and I love that it was such a surprise. So cute. I don't have it physically with me, but the next book that I'm going to read is A Room of One's Own, which is a nonfiction essay collection. So, on to book 2. So today is Sunday, and I have actually made very significant progress on my reading goals for this weekend. As for the big sad that I mentioned earlier in this vlog, I kind of figured that if I gave myself a reading challenge for the weekend, I could probably boost my morale in a way, and it's definitely worked. I still feel a little not myself, but I do feel better, and hopefully I'll be okay for Monday to get working on my thesis. So what my reading goal for the weekend was to read as many books that I could from the stack of books in under 24 hours. And then I remembered that I am a slow reader and I will probably most likely only get through 2, even though they're very short. But I was wrong both times and I've made it pretty far. As I mentioned, Garlic and the Witch, and I was supposed to pick up A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf, but as I was reading it, I realized that I'm not as interested in this essay as I thought I was. So, since I am not in the mood to read something that I'm not that interested in, I put it down for now. I'll get to it eventually, but just not right now. Instead, I picked up The Old Man and the Sea, which fulfilled my dandelion space, I think. The Old Man and the Sea is basically one of the oldest books I've ever had in my TBR shelf. I've been meaning to get to this book for years. I know I got it secondhand, but it's definitely one of the most discolored that I have on that shelf, just because that's how long I've had it. I finally got to it. It was actually a pretty good read. I don't know what I was expecting, to be honest, but I guess there's a reason why Hemingway's famous, right? It's literally just about an old man trying to catch this giant fish. It's just a one-off story of winning in spite of your loss. And that was pretty cool. I really thought the old man was gonna die and he didn't. So that was, I guess spoilers, but that was pretty nice. And the last book that I just recently finished reading, literally like an hour ago, is The Castle of Otranto by Horace Walpole. And this definitely took up my rare book space because I honestly can't even remember how I heard of this book and why I bought it. I think a YouTuber talked about it and I liked it, but this is supposedly the first supernatural English novel and one of the most influential works of Gothic fiction. That was pretty interesting to read, and I don't know, I thought I loved it so much. I'm considering putting it in my favorite shelf just because my heart aches for Theodore and Matilda, who are the romantic leads, I guess you could say. And if you're into reading classics and Gothic literature, I definitely do 100% recommend this one. It was a fast and easy read, and the story itself is less than what this book is, so it is definitely an easy read. I think it starts in page 8 and ends in 105, and there are a little more than 130 pages in this book, so that should tell you something. Now, these are the 2 books that I have left. I could also throw in Literature and Evil by Georges Bataille, but I do want to read Braiding Sweetgrass. Obviously I could read more nonfiction, but it doesn't matter if I don't get to this at all in November, is where my train of thought was going. That is my Sunday reading update. I have 2 books left that hopefully I could get to by the end of the day. This just goes to show that self-care really does help your mental health. The end. Happy Monday and welcome to the end of this vlog. For my reading updates, I did not finish The Turn of the Screw. I was halfway through it and my brain started slowly, distracting me, so that was me needing to take a break from reading. But my plan is to finish it this new upcoming week, and also start and finish Wide Sargasso Sea before I get back to Wuthering Heights. Wuthering Heights, it's in the part where it's not really my favorite, so I need to take a longer break before I get back to it. But with that being said, I have basically filled out most of my bingo board, and I think that's really exciting. I think in my next vlog, which I'll be recording shortly after this one, I'll do like a rundown. No, I think in my reading wrap up, I'll do a rundown of which book corresponded with which space. But technically, I only have 4 spaces left, and I could argue that the turn of the screw could fill in the water space, which is the space of like an author you want more of, because ever since the summer, I've been really wanting to reread The Turn of the Screw and pick up more Henry James. So I guess you could say I was a thirsty bitch for this book. Yes, I'm going to count this as my water space, which means now I officially only have 4 spaces left. And that's pretty exciting. Oh, sorry, 3 spaces left, and that's pretty exciting. This reading vlog ended up being an impromptu self-care vlog as well. As I always mention whenever I introduce myself, the point of me starting YouTube is to help push me to really focus on working on my hobbies that I really miss doing, but I had to drop because of ADHD burnout. Vlogging it helps me stay accountable, and I feel like this vlog is a perfect example of that, of wanting to use reading as self-care as it should have been, and vlogging it to stay accountable for it. I can honestly say that I do feel a lot better mentally wise. You know, that's depression. It is what it is, you know. I'm sure anybody could relate that it comes and goes when it wants to, when it needs to, I guess. And personally for me, luckily I have a lot of coping mechanisms that I've learned through therapy plus medication, that it just makes it easier to write out these episodes. But that doesn't mean that they're still not that bad, if that makes sense. I don't know, I don't even think I made sense for myself. But what I'm trying to say is that luckily, because I took care of myself and not forced myself to do things that I didn't want to do, this whole week I was not only reading, but I was also focusing on sketching and painting, which I'll probably show later. But I was focused on doing things that really warmed my soul, that I wrote out this episode, and I feel a lot better now to be able to focus on working on my thesis. I have another due date in the first week of December, and I told my thesis director that I still needed that long of a due date because of the fact that I'm starting late on my thesis work because of this depression episode, and that is another self-care act. I'm not trying to push myself into a closer deadline because I don't want to ruin this progress that I just did for myself by trying to keep up and trying to fit all this work into a short timeline and everything like that. So another self-care act that I did was keep a further deadline to make sure that I turn in quality work, keeping a quality mental mindset. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much. If you liked it, please leave a like. And if this is where we part, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one.